Welcome to using Bridge and Camera Raw in Photoshop CS6. What I want to do is I want to take you through the process of importing your files, and then we're going to go into other videos where we go through a variety of ways of sorting through your images. The first thing that you really should be doing after you take your pictures and then want to import them is not to just jump right into Camera Raw and start editing your files. Really just take a few minutes and go through some of the other things that I believe are important for you to do prior to going into Camera Raw. I just need you to hold off, not go and start jumping in and looking at your images right away. Take a few minutes to go through the process that I'm going to explain in the next couple of videos. That will make your life much, much easier as you go on through your workflow. The first thing that I want to do is I want to show you about a helper application that comes with Adobe Bridge. It's called Photo Downloader. I call it Adobe Photo Downloader, whatever you want to call it. Very easy, very cool. I've got a CF card connected to my computer. I'm going to show you how this application works and why it might be a benefit for you to use in your workflow. So here we go. Under File, I'm going to go to Get Photos from Camera. Now, one of the things about this is it doesn't really matter to the application whether you have a CF card connected to your computer via USB, or if you actually have a USB device connected and there's images or PDFs or whatever that happens to be on there. Doesn't really matter to the software. It recognizes the connection. So here we go. Now, the first thing you're going to see when you first go and choose this is a dialog box asking you if you want to have this automatically pop up every time you insert a CF card into a connected card reader. I personally choose no, but that's up to you. Go ahead and do whatever it is you want. So I'm going to choose no. If regardless, I can click on this and choose no and it'll never show up again. Now, here is the Adobe Photo Downloader. I'm going to click on the advanced dialog box. It'll give us a few more options. So there we go, we've got that. Now I'm just going to place this up here so we don't get distracted by the other elements in the content area. If we take a look in the content area of the dialog box, you'll see that we have 12 images. This guy here is some kind of registry file that's inside the folder, whatever it is. It shows up on my computer all the time. If you guys know how to get rid of it so it doesn't show up, then by all means go ahead. All right, let's take a look at the dialog box. The source up here says get photos from, and it's my Nikon D700. There are 13 files displayed. 12 of them are selected, and those 12 occupy almost 76 megabytes. These images were captured back in January of 2007. This information here is coming from the metadata of the files themselves. You can actually use this dialog box as a starting point for sorting out your images. As you can see, I have this image here. The first two images are very, very similar. I may or may not want to import them. This image, number 4 and 5, look like they're almost identical. And maybe I do and maybe I don't want to import both of them. At that point, I could uncheck one of the check boxes. Depending on how many images you are working with, it might be more convenient to uncheck all and then just come in and select the ones that you want to work with. I'm going to choose check all and then deselect and come over here and just uncheck that first guy there because I want to bring in all of the 12 of these images. I do not obviously want that image. On the other side over here where we have save options, we have the option to put these images in their place, wherever that is. So I can come over here and choose to try to locate a folder, and I have a folder in here called images. This is my structure, the way I work on my login. At the same root level where I have my desktop documents, downloads, and all that other stuff, I have a folder that I have personally created called images. Inside that images folder, I have a folder called raw, I have one called DRV, and I have one with my initials on it. The files that go inside the folder with my initials on it are my own personal things that I shoot, that I work with. If I'm doing something for clients and such, then I will shoot. So if I'm shooting an event for a specific client, they will go in here. So enough of that kind of stuff. So now in here, what I need to do is I need to go and create a folder for the next thing. You can see that I've just created a dummy folder with some things on it rather than going and getting everything that's going through. So here's my folder sequence, my naming sequence. Everything starts off with RAW, then hyphen, 3 leading zeros and a 1 would be the first folder. This is folder 85, 6, 7, 88. Then we come up to here, and this is folder 125. If I was to carry on with the sequence, we would see that it would be capital RAW hyphen 0126 and then a date. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. Now, I've chosen my subfolder. I can create another subfolder if I wanted to, and if I'm going to do that, I'm going to create a custom name. This custom name is going to be RAW hyphen 0126 hyphen, and then I'm just going to put in the date. Although it's not going in the right order and anything else, I'm going to put in the date as well. So if I were to take a look at these dates here, just to see the naming convention that I'm actually using, it is year, month, day. All right, year, month, day. So 2007, month, day. There we go. Rename the files. I personally choose to rename my files, and I can do that here or I can do it elsewhere. So I'm going to choose custom name, and in here the name of the files will start off with 0126, and then they will have a hyphen, and then I have to get rid of this guy here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it like that, and it's going to be 0126 underscore 0001. Now, personally, I don't like to have that many leading zeros inside here, but that's something I'll show you in a minute, how we can actually change that for the future. Under the preserve current file name in XMP, I don't check that off. Under advanced, open Adobe Bridge, that is always checked. And the reason why it's always checked is that you may connect your card if you had it set for the auto feature, and even if you didn't have Bridge launched, the operating system and the computer and all that other nonsense would pick up the fact that you actually had Bridge or had a card connected. Bridge wasn't currently open, it would open it up afterwards. Convert to DNG. I personally do not do that on import. I do that afterwards. One of my backups is going to be in the DNG file format, so I don't do that on import. Delete original files. I don't even know why that's an option in here. I think that's a silly thing to do. To save copies on import. Save copies on import might be a good idea, and might be an idea to come over and put them on an external drive. And then what I would do is once we connect to that external drive, I would go to a folder and I would call this one backups. There you go. Click open, and now while I'm importing, they can go to that folder. I don't find this to be all that beneficial when I'm working in my studio, but if I'm on location and I'm downloading to a laptop, I always have an external drive to put onto the backups, go onto the external drive. That way, in case I lose my laptop, it gets stolen, I still have copies of my images. Down in the bottom section here where it says apply metadata template, you have an option. The option is to either choose none, or you can choose the basic, which would be your name, and then possibly the copyright symbol with your name or your photography company name and all that kind of stuff. Applying your metadata template on import, I think, is crucial and very, very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into here, and you can see that I have the Photoshop channel for 2013, and I should have one of these guys for 2013 as well. And because I've been using Lightroom for most of the things I've been doing, I don't have one, so I'm just going to apply the 2012 metadata template to this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose Get Media, and you can see that the stuff is being imported. These are the file names, and what I'm going to do is, well, we'll see how things get changed. There we go. Here's my images. They've all been imported, and look at this. The file names have been changed on import. Everything is coming up the way I want it to. If I were to come down here and take a look, you can see that my metadata information has been applied to all of my images. Let me just scroll down for a second, and we can see that it's got the 2012 copyright. That's better than nothing, but we can actually go and create or modify the 2012 one by going in and creating a duplicate of this one and just giving it a new name and changing the date on it and all that kind of stuff. And I show you how to do that in video 3. So I don't need to really go through that at this point in time. What I want to do is I want to check and see about the naming convention. Now, there's a couple of ways I can go about renaming these files, and what I can do is shift-click to select all of these guys and go under Tools and choose the Batch Rename. Inside the Batch Rename, I can come over here and I would type in 0126, and then I'd have a hyphen. And we can see how the name is changing down here. And I'd come over here and set that to number 1, and I would choose 3 digits. So there we go. There is my naming convention. This is how easy it is to rename your files. I'm only doing 12. It's going to take, next to no time. Even if you had 900, it really wouldn't take that much time. There we go. I mean, how much simpler could it get?